At one point in my life, guys, I was running a business and I was selling clothes online on eBay. I had a YouTube channel about it, and things were going great. But when I started really kicking it up into high gear, I started trying to make as much money as humanly possible. It kind of took the place of God in my life. Not that deconstructed my faith or anything like that, but it started getting in the way of my devotion to the Lord. It started getting in the way of my prayer time. It started getting in the way of my time in the Word. It even took away my time that I would spend at the gym. And it became an idol in my life. And it became my focus to make videos about how to do this and teach people how to do it. And started a Discord and a Patreon and teach people how to get money, right? And because I was doing all these teaching things, I had to really have results to show people. Like, look, I know what I'm talking about. I know what I'm doing. I'm making all this money. And it became such a draining time in my life, guys. And I felt so far from God. And I want to play this testimony video for you right here because I think that this is important. That when we try to rely on ourselves and do things outside of God's plan for our life, we'll never find comfort in that.
At the beginning of this year, I suffered so much. I had a house fire, my car was stolen, I lost my job, I got into a car accident. I lost everything that I had been building for years in a span of 2 months or less. And I learned the biggest lesson that I've ever learned in my entire life. And I found myself relating to the story of Nebuchadnezzar. And I want to share it so bad because it is something that has changed my life completely. And I hope it can help somebody else as well. So Nebuchadnezzar was the king of Babylon. He was very, very powerful at this time. He had conquered nations, built palaces, and made Babylon just amazing with gardens and walls that were considered wonders of the world. One day he was standing on a rooftop looking at all he had built, and in Daniel 4:30 it says that he says, "Is not this the great Babylon I have built as the royal residence by my mighty power and for the glory of my majesty?" In this moment he gave himself all of the credit. He saw all his achievements as a product of his own strength, his own vision, and his own hard work, forgetting that everything that had come onto him was from God. Immediately after that verse, after he declared that over his kingdom, God humbled him in Daniel 4:33. He took Nebuchadnezzar's throne away, he lost his sanity, he even lost his dignity. He was driven away from people and lived like an animal in the fields, it says. He ate grass like cattle, his hair grew long, and his nails became like claws. The most powerful man in the world was stripped down to nothing, powerless, broken, unable to rely on himself. At the beginning of this year, I moved into a almost $1 million lake house by myself, just me and my golden retriever. I was working on my business tirelessly. Every day when I woke up, my mind was on my to-do list. I stopped praying. I quite honestly forgot about God. I was only relying on my own strength to get me through all of life's obstacles. Anytime something came up or something went wrong, I thought, I've got this. I can do this. I can beat this, which is great to have faith in yourself, but I was completely relying on my own strength and I was actually miserable. I was so physically and mentally drained. It felt like I was running on a treadmill every single day just trying to get ahead and I could never get there. I was drowning in work. I was drowning to stay above water financially, mentally, physically. I couldn't handle everything going on in my life. And when I had my house fire, I lost everything. I packed my entire car up with everything I had left, and my car was stolen out of the driveway of the Airbnb that I was staying at days later. I got a rental car because my car was stolen, and I flipped the car 15 feet in the air 4 times over, landed in a ditch, went to the hospital. I thought that my life was over and I kept asking my mom, there has to be a lesson in this. What is the lesson in this? Something can't just happen in someone's life like this without there being a lesson. And I realized that I had been asking my mom, I had been asking out loud, but I had never prayed. Still, in this moment, after everything that had happened, I still hadn't prayed and just asked God, what is the lesson in this? And the moment that I did, this epiphany immediately entered my mind, which I like to think that that is what it feels like when the Holy Spirit is talking to us. I've never heard a voice of a man, of God talking to me, but when I asked, it instantly was planted in my brain. And he said to me that you were relying on your own strength. I already won this battle for you. I already did the work for you. You didn't have to be doing this. You didn't have to be living this way. And you were on a path to killing yourself if you kept going down it. He took everything that was destroying me or had me on my way to destruction and wiped it all clean to put me in a position to start over and do things right. And so I want you to just think right now in your life, are you relying on your own strength or are you relying on God's strength? Because if you're relying on your own and you think that you can do this all by yourself, you are forfeiting God's strength. You are giving up so much power that is already yours. So I went through so much suffering, but it was so worth it to be reminded that I don't have to do this by myself. I don't have to be the one carrying all of this on my shoulders to get through this life. It's already been done for me and I already won. The battle's already won. Everything that is meant for me will find me. God's plan will prevail and there's nothing that I can do about it, and I don't want to do anything about that because if it's not from God, I don't want it and neither should you. So don't be like Nebuchadnezzar, don't be like me. Wake up every single day and put on the armor of Jesus Christ and you will be so much happier. You will get all of the desires of your heart. He will provide for you, and you do not have to worry about that, not even for a second.
So I want to go back to what I said in my story where I was trying to make this job that I was doing, this business that I was doing, trying to make it work. And I was struggling to find peace, to find comfort. And I would wake up in the morning at like 5 a.m. and then I wouldn't go to bed till like 12:30 at night. And I'd work the entire day, just working my day away. And I didn't have time for people. If someone stopped me at the gas station and just wanted to have a 5 minute talk, I would be infuriated inside because they didn't know that they were taking away time that I was going to be able to get my work done in order to go to sleep. And it got so bad that I would get so mad when my phone would ring because people just didn't understand that they were interrupting me getting my work done. And I didn't have peace. I didn't have joy. And I kept praying to God, like, God, help me make it through this. Help this work. Why isn't this working, Lord? And I kept asking God to give me like successful days and things like that. And through it all, like I never had peace. And I had a mentor that was teaching me how to do these things. And his story was that he was this multi-million-dollar successful guy doing what I was doing. And he had to sacrifice 15 years of his life, not, really like doing the things that he wanted to do in life to be happy and like to find joy. And like, it was just work, 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 work. So when we hit our 40s, we can then have the rest of our lives to like travel the world and go on vacations and do all these things. And that's great. That works for him. But I'm a man of God and I have a relationship with the Lord. And I wasn't finding peace in this. And then I realized that just because this one guy did it that way doesn't mean that I have to do it. And I realized that I wasn't trying to win the approval of this mentor that I had, but I was trying to win the approval of Jesus. I realized that I didn't care what my followers thought about me. And if I failed and if I quit, it didn't matter what they thought about me. It mattered what Jesus thought about me. So I quit. I stopped listing these clothing items for sale, and I still sell items every single day by the grace of God, but I haven't listed an item in over I haven't listed an item since the beginning of this year. And I still sell items every single day. And that business isn't thriving like it used to, but I still make money every single day. And I went and got a real job, and I find so much peace that I can wake up in the morning before I go to work and read my Bible. I find so much peace that I can get up here and I can make these videos and minister to people and just talk about Jesus all day is what I love to do. And I get so much more peace than I do making these videos, going to a factory job and finding comfort in the fact that I can be present with the Lord all day long. I can go to the gym. I can do the things that I want to do. And my life with the Lord doesn't have to take the back seat. When you're trying to be the one that make everything happen, when you're trying to force things to work that aren't in God's plan, you will meet friction. You will find discomfort. You will not find peace in that season of your life because you're not meant to be peaceful in a season that God hasn't called you to be in, right? And so it's like here I am in this season that I'm in now. I'm a newly married man. Well, I've been married for going on a year in a couple months. Newly married, got a newer job. This channel, God's blessing it, God's breathing all over it. And I find so much peace in that because I could still be in the old season where I was trying to force everything to work, force things that aren't in God's plans to work and never find peace. And I would have never even had time for a relationship. I wouldn't be married right now. And I'd probably be headed to an early grave because of the stress and the strain that it was putting on my body and my heart. probably wouldn't even be alive right now, guys. So God's so faithful, God's so good, and He can do exceedingly abundantly above all that we could ask, think, or imagine, guys. And that's the beautiful part about it. We don't have to rely on ourselves. The world tells you to be a boss, be a millionaire, be someone that's big and great, and do all these things for you. But Jesus just says, "Come to me, cast all your cares on me, take my yoke upon you, because my burden is light," right? And at the end of the day, I'd rather live for the approval of Jesus than the approval of man. And I'm so thankful that I went through that season so that now I can appreciate the season that I'm in even more. What in your life are you placing above Jesus, or that you're trying to control, or where you're giving yourself the glory for instead of giving the glory to God? That's going to do it for this one. I'll catch you guys on the next one. Until then, God bless.